to Incoterms for sea and waterway. There are 11 Incoterms in total. This video will focus on the 4 Incoterms that are specific to sea and marine waterways. The 4 Incoterms for sea and inland waterway are free alongside ship, FAS, FOB, free on board, CFR, cost and freight, and CIF, cost, insurance, and freight. Just a reminder, when you're talking about Incoterms, when I say delivery, I'm not talking about the final delivery. I'm talking about the point in time when the risk and responsibility changes from the buyer to the seller. So the first Incoterm we're going to look at is FAS, free alongside ship. This means when the seller delivers the goods to the buyer and it's placed alongside the vessel or the quay or the barge that's nominated by the buyer. An example of an FAS shipment is you are dropping off a less than container load. You have your boxes packed up and the seller delivers them to the port. At that point, it's considered alongside the ship. It's going to be loaded onto the ship. So once the seller drops off the boxes beside the vessel at the quay or the loading port, it is considered FAS, and the risk and responsibility now pass to the buyer. The next Incoterm is FOB, free on board. This means once the seller delivers the goods on board the vessel nominated by the buyer, that's where the risk and responsibility changes hands. Cost and freight. So this is our C term. So this is, there's a difference again in where the seller and buyer responsibility and costs start. So in CFR, so cost and freight, the risk changes when the seller delivers the goods on board the vessel, but the seller will pay the transportation costs to the point of destination, the port of destination. An example of cost and freight is I have bought you a ticket for a cruise. So I have paid for your cruise ticket and you are going to go to the Bahamas. I've bought you a ticket to go on a vessel to the Bahamas. I've made arrangements to drop off your suitcase at the vessel for you so that you can go on this trip to the Bahamas. So what happens is you get to the plank so you can board the vessel. I drop off your suitcase, you start rolling it up the plank and the wheels fall off. This is something where you can no longer call me and say, oh my gosh, the wheels have fallen off my suitcase. You have to help me. You need to figure out how you're going to deal with the broken suitcase. However, I have still paid for your transit to the destination port. So that is an example of a CFR. CIF is one of our C terms. Again, so the C terms are different. That means that the risk and the costs change hands in different places. So in the case of CIF, when the seller delivers the goods to the buyer on board the vessel, that is when the risk will change from the seller to the buyer. However, the seller will pay the transportation costs, including the insurance to bring the goods to the named port. An example of CIF is going back to the cruise ticket that I've bought for you. So you're going to the cruise for the Bahamas. You're rolling your suitcase up the plank and the wheels fall off. But rest assured, I have bought insurance for your luggage. So even though you need to recover the suitcase in the short term, it does have insurance coverage. And so you're protected for that damage. So that was a brief overview of some of the Incoterms for sea and waterway Incoterms. Up next is a video where I have a student. Her name is Jane, and she's having some trouble with Incoterms. Maybe you can help her figure out what Incoterms to use. This is a great practice.